Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving into something a lot of transitioning service members ask about, especially here in Washington State.
Oh, yeah.
Building professional relationships as a civilian.
Yeah, making those connections outside of the military can be tough.
Right, so we're really excited to dig into a couple of resources we found.
Absolutely.
How to build meaningful relationships after service.
Great resource.
And info on Operation Military Family's DPSY program.
Oh, very cool.
All right, so jumping right in.
Let's do it.
This source, How to Build Meaningful Relationships After Service, points out that sometimes the biggest hurdle for veterans isn't a lack of skills.
Right.
It's building that trust in the civilian world.
Yeah, it's a totally different environment.
It is. And it's
Okay.
interesting because the source actually mentions transitioning from bases right here in Washington,
Okay.
JBLM and Naval Base Kitsap.
Makes sense. A lot of listeners in this area.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that trust piece.
Sure.
What makes it so different in the civilian professional setting?
Well, in the military, you're often building trust through shared hardship,
Right.
going through tough situations together.
Absolutely.
But in the civilian world, it's like you're starting from scratch sometimes.
Yeah, you don't have that instant bond.
Exactly. And the way you show you're reliable or competent, it's different,
It's more subtle.
much more.
So how do you navigate that as a veteran? Because you do have valuable skills from your service.
Definitely you do. And that's actually a really exciting part of this.
Okay, tell me more.
Those military skills like leadership, communication, teamwork,
Yeah,
those are so valuable in any environment,
of course it makes sense.
especially when you're trying to build trust.
So it's like your secret weapon.
Uh-huh. I like that.
Forget the secret handshake. You've got proof you can lead under pressure,
Right.
communicate clearly, and work towards a goal as a team.
That's huge.
It really is.
But it's all about showcasing those skills in a way that civilians understand.
So how do you do that?
Instead of saying, I led a team of 20, you might say, I spearheaded a project that involved coordinating with multiple departments.
Interesting. So it's the same idea,
Exactly.
but it just lands differently.
Yeah, it resonates more with civilian employers.
That's a great tip.
Thanks.
Okay, so you've got the skills, you're adapting your message.
Right.
How do you actually meet people to build these relationships with?
That's where networking comes in.
Of course, networking, everyone's favorite.
Uh-huh. Right. Well, luckily, Washington State has a ton of opportunities.
Really?
Our source recommends seeking out local events,
Okay,
both in person and virtual.
I see.
You've got industry-specific meetups, veteran-focused organizations.
Hold on, though. Not every veteran wants to be a CEO.
You're right.
Some want work-life balance. Some are interested in creative fields.
Absolutely.
Does this advice still apply?
It does. You just have to think a little broader than just those corporate events.
Okay, I like that.
There are art groups, community projects, online forums.
Oh, that makes sense.
It's all about finding where your people are.
Finding your tribe.
Exactly.
And I imagine those military communication skills come in handy
Oh, absolutely.
when you're putting yourself out there.
You're used to clear, concise communication and being comfortable in new situations.
Right.
That confidence goes a long way when you're networking.
So you're showing up. You're engaging.
Yeah.
But this source also emphasizes that networking isn't just collecting business cards.
Definitely not.
It's deeper than that.
It's about building genuine connections.
Okay, so how do you do that?
Be curious. Ask questions. Listen actively.
Show genuine interest.
People can tell when you're really interested in what they have to say.
Yeah.
And that's what helps you build those lasting relationships.
And it's worth remembering, Washington has a strong military presence.
For sure.
So you're likely to encounter other veterans at these events.
Absolutely.
People who get it
Exactly.
in a way that others might not.
That shared experience is so valuable.
Yeah, you can offer each other advice,
Right.
support, or even just vent about civilian life.
Haha.
Okay, so we've talked about the overall challenge, leveraging your skills, finding events.
Right.
But what about a more structured approach to this whole transition thing?
Good question.
That's where I think Operation Military Family and their DPSY program comes in.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Let's unpack how it helps veterans in Washington specifically.
Sounds good. So DPSY stands for Discovering Your Post-Service Identity.
Catchy.
And it's designed to help transitioning service members in Washington and Texas.
Okay, so not just Washington.
Right. It's available in both states.
Got it.
And what's really interesting is it's not just about finding any job.
Well,
It's about finding yourself outside of the uniform.
yeah, the DPSY 2 FAQ V2 for DPSY actually starts with this question.
Okay.
The key to gaining clarity, purpose, and vision in your personal and professional life. What does it mean to be you after the uniform comes off?
Wow, that's deep.
It is.
It really gets to the heart of what a lot of veterans struggle with.
I can see that.
You've dedicated years to service with a clear identity and mission, and then suddenly that shifts.
You're not in that world anymore.
Exactly. And DPSY helps you process that, rediscover your strengths and values.
That makes sense because you're not starting from zero.
Right.
You have incredible experience.
You do.
But figuring out how that translates to civilian life can be overwhelming.
Definitely.
So how does DPSY break that down?
Well, it's a 4-week program,
Okay,
1-hour sessions, so it's super accessible.
that's good.
And they cover 4 key areas:
All right, I'm listening.
self-discovery, career identification, opportunity assessment.
Okay.
And this is key negotiation skills.
Hold on. Opportunity assessment.
Yeah.
What does that even mean for someone going through this?
Good question. It's about learning to evaluate job offers.
Okay.
And not just the salary, but the company culture, the growth, potential work-life balance.
Oh, I see.
Things that maybe weren't as much of a focus in the military.
Right, you're not really thinking about that in the service.
Not as much.
So DPSY helps you figure out if a job is actually a good fit.
Exactly. It helps you avoid those shiny distractions
Makes sense.
and find roles that really fit you.
Not just any job, but the right job.
Exactly.
I like that. And the negotiation part.
Yeah.
I've heard that can be tricky for veterans.
It can be in the military. You're given orders.
Right.
It's not much negotiation.
You just do what you're told.
Pretty much. But in the civilian world, advocating for yourself is crucial.
You have to know your worth.
Absolutely. And DPSY teaches you how to assess your worth,
Okay.
communicate your value, and yes, negotiate for what you deserve.
That's huge, especially for people coming from a military background.
It is.
And the best part is it's offered at no cost
You got it.
to eligible participants.
Free thanks to sponsors. Can't beat that.
That's amazing. And we even have an example in our How to Build Meaningful Relationships After Service guide.
Oh, yeah.
There's a story about a veteran from Naval Station Everett
Okay.
who used DPSY to transition into the tech sector in Seattle.
Wow, Seattle's tech scene.
Yeah.
That's competitive.
It is. So what did DPSY do for him that other resources maybe didn't?
Well, he had the leadership experience,
Oh, okay.
but he needed help translating that into the language that tech companies use.
Interesting.
Plus, the networking scene there is intense.
I bet.
So DPSY gave him the tools to build relationships and market himself effectively.
That's so inspiring. It shows that no matter your background
Right.
or desired field, this program can make a difference.
It definitely can.
But it's not like DPSY is a magic bullet.
True.
You still have to put in the work.
Absolutely. DPSY gives you the framework, the skills,
Okay.
but you need to apply them.
You have to take action.
Exactly. And one thing they emphasize is not forgetting your existing network,
Right.
those military connections you've already built.
Speaking of making connections,
Yeah.
that makes total sense. You've spent years in a world where camaraderie was instant.
Right. Those bonds are so important.
Those bonds are gold even as you build new civilian ones. Exactly those who've served understand each other in ways that others just might not.
I agree.
Don't underestimate the power of that shared experience.
Definitely not.
Whether it's for advice support or just venting about confusing office jargon.
Uh-huh. So true.
And even with the new connections you make,
Yeah.
that follow-up is crucial.
It is.
Turning a casual meet and greet into a real relationship that takes effort.
It does.
What are some tips for that?
A simple LinkedIn message,
Okay.
an email saying you enjoyed the conversation.
Keep in touch.
Exactly. These small gestures show you're serious about building that network.
It's what separates those fleeting encounters from lasting connections.
For sure.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. The unique challenges,
Right.
the power of military skills, finding events, and this amazing program, DPSY.
I have.
As we wrap up, what are some key takeaways for our listeners, especially here in Washington State?
Okay, let's bring it all together. All right, so wrapping up our deep dive on building your civilian network here in Washington State, it's not as simple as just handing out your resume.
Definitely not. It's about more than that.
We've talked about how the biggest challenge is that trust gap.
Mm-hmm.
Moving from that military world where you build bonds so differently
Yeah,
into civilian professional life.
totally different.
But the good news is,
There is good news.
oh yeah, you've got some serious superpowers from your military experience.
Okay, I like where this is going.
Those leadership skills, communication, teamwork,
Right.
those are in high demand everywhere.
Makes sense.
It's just about showcasing them in a way that civilian employers understand.
Right. Tailoring your message.
Exactly.
And Washington offers so many resources to help with that.
It does.
We talked about those local networking events,
Yeah.
in person or virtual.
Find the ones that fit your field.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone
Right, put yourself out there.
and start conversations.
You got it.
And of course, we have to mention Operation Military Family's DPSY program.
Definitely a game changer for a lot of people.
That free 4-week program
Yeah.
with a focus on self-discovery, career planning, and even negotiation skills.
Can't forget those negotiation skills.
So important.
And you know that story we mentioned about the veteran from Everett?
Yeah, the one who landed a tech job in Seattle.
Yeah. That's proof that DPSY works.
It really is.
It helps bridge that gap
Yeah,
between your military experience and what civilian employers are looking for.
exactly. So now that we've gone through all this,
Right.
what's one action step our listeners can take this week
This week.
to start building your civilian network?
Well, you could check out events on Meetup or Eventbrite,
Okay,
update your LinkedIn,
good idea.
maybe reach out to a veteran in your field for an informational interview.
Oh, that's smart.
It's all about starting somewhere.
Taking that first step.
Exactly.
And if you're curious about DPSY,
Yeah.
how to build meaningful relationships after service, has a registration link.
Check it out.
It might be that missing piece
Could be.
to jumpstart your civilian career.
Building a network takes time
Oh, it does.
and effort, but it's so worth it.
It is.
And remember, you're not alone in this journey.
You're not.
Lean on your fellow veterans.
Great advice.
Tap into those resources like DPSY.
Right.
And don't be afraid to ask for help.
You got this, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for listening.
We're excited to see what you accomplish.
Best of luck out there.
Until next time.